This video is made possible by Napleton Subaru in Schaumburg. The Napleton Auto Group has been doing business in the area for over 90 years. If you'd like more information, please check the description below.
Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2023 Subaru Forester Wilderness. Up front is a 2.5 liter flat 4, and down below is a CVT. Now I am super excited to be driving this here Subaru Forester Wilderness for a couple of reasons, but mainly the fact that I haven't done one before. The Wilderness package is also available on the Outback, and I've done that car. But now the Forester is getting the Wilderness treatment, and I'm excited to share it with you today. But before we get on to anything else, I have a website, zackprato.com, where you can buy stickers and other merchandise when it becomes available. You could also submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form, and you get a video of your car just like this one. And you could read my behind the scenes blog to see what I'm filming before it comes out on the channel. But let's get back to that 2.5 liter flat 4. Well, unfortunately, the Forester does not get the 2.4 liter turbo option that the Outback, Legacy, and Ascent get. It's stuck with the naturally aspirated 2.5 that only makes 182 horsepower, which isn't anything crazy, but that also doesn't make the car a complete slouch. It's just not as powerful as some of its siblings under the Subaru name. And that does not change for the Forester Wilderness. The Wilderness gets the same drivetrain as all the other Foresters. Now, like I said, paired to it is a CVT. I'm not over the moon about CVTs. They're fine. Subaru seems to know what they're doing with them, and they've done them for at least the last 12 years from what I can recall. Last but not least, of course, the Forester Wilderness is all-wheel drive, and it uses Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive system, which is fantastic. I've used it quite a bit in my time here on YouTube, and I've always been a fan. One nice thing about the Wilderness as well is that it can actually tow 3,000 pounds as opposed to the 1,500 pound towing capacity that the normal Forester gets. So definitely nice, and that's helped out by that suspension. So what's it like to drive the Forester Wilderness? Well, it does get an almost 2-inch lift in the suspension. It's a 1 and some change inch lift, and it does stiffen the ride a little bit. However, I definitely will take that extra ground clearance and approach angle when off-roading. Visibility is actually really good out the front. Out the back, it's okay, but in terms of an SUV, it gets 2 thumbs up because SUVs always have terrible visibility out the back. So nothing new there. The steering is a little bit light for how large the vehicle is, but I've said this in all my other Subaru videos. They have really, really light steering, which can be a benefit to some. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 2 physical gauges and a screen. Off to the left, I get a tachometer that says Subaru Wilderness. I love that little touch, and of course you'll see the gold touches throughout. Off to the right is my speedometer, and in the center I do get a customizable screen. I can change a couple features here, nothing really to write home about, but definitely nice to see, and most modern Subaru products come with this same screen as well. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my skip track, volume, source info, and phone options, as well as my information down to the bottom left, and off to the right I have my cruise control options and drive mode. So this does have Subaru's EyeSight 3 system, which as of now in 2023 is their most up-to-date system. So not only is that radar cruise, but it's blind spot monitoring, cross-traffic alert, lane keep assist, all of that sort of rolled into one nice and tidy system named EyeSight. The drive modes, I do have the S Sharp mode, which is just for the Wilderness. It makes the throttle response a little bit peppier, maybe to get out of a rut or something like that, which is nice to see. The overall look and feel of the steering wheel is nice. Of course, I do get gold accents for the Wilderness package, and I do have paddle shifters around the back. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, as well as my tailgate button, SRH off, tailgate height memory in case you don't want to bump it on something, gauge dimmer switch, traction control, automatic start stop on and off, and blind spot monitoring on and off. Moving on to the door, I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. And then moving into the center, I do get a really small information screen far up on the dash, and I can cycle through a bunch of different things here. This is super, super helpful. Most Subarus have some form of this or are able to be optioned with some form of this screen. And I really, really like it. It gives this sort of command center feel to the interior. And if you're going to be off-road, you're going to be doing some adventuring, it's really nice to get that. Moving a little bit down below, we do have the infotainment screen. So it is a touchscreen, of course, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it uses Subaru's Starlink system. I think it's fine. I think it's decent. It's easy to use. I think the screen is a nice size, not too big, not too small, and it definitely doesn't dominate the interior, much like we saw in the Subaru Ascent. I like that it's a little bit smaller. Here's what the backup camera also looks like, in case you were curious. Then I do get some physical radio buttons. I really like that. I like having a physical radio knob. I like having a physical tune knob, physical home button. I like all of those a lot. And then I have the climate controls. So I do get dual zone, as well as I do get auto and heated mirrors, as well as my rear defrost and things like that. Nice, clean, and simple. Don't have to talk much more about it. Then I do get a cubby, and then we'll come down to the shifter. The shifter is also finished in gold, a wilderness perk, and I really like that. Then we have a couple interesting buttons. So down below off to the far left, we do have the power parking brake and brake hold. Very standard stuff there. But then in the center, we get our X mode. So we have snow and dirt, normal, and then deep snow and mud. Really nice options here, and I like that it's finished in the gold for the wilderness as well. Now, this isn't exclusive to the wilderness. Other Foresters do get the X mode, but something I definitely want to see if I'm buying a more outdoorsy vehicle. Off to the right, though, what is wilderness specific is the view mode. So when I hit this, I can actually look at a front view camera for going on a trail. If you want to see if your path is clear, you can actually use the frontward camera to see over the nose of the car, which I think is fantastic. Then I do get my heated seat options. Now, Subaru uses really cheap heated seat buttons. These feel like they were pulled out of the discount bin at Dollar Tree, and I'm not a big fan. However, you'll see that across their lineup. Not really much you can do about it. Then we do have cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test, and unfortunately, it just is a little too skinny, a little too awkward to fit the big friggin' bottle. A little disheartening because this is a more outdoorsy vehicle, but alas, not the end of the world. Then I get a center console with a 12-volt outlet in it, and then we'll talk about the seats. The seats are finished in the StarTex from Subaru, which is their sort of all-purpose leather that's supposed to be easily washable and all this stuff. And of course, it does have wilderness embossed in it. Absolutely love that nice touch. And I get gold stitching, another really nice touch for the seats. They are heated, which are keeping me very warm on this snowy day, so I can't complain at all. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2023 Subaru Forester Wilderness, and a couple of things to note. First of all, I really love this size of Forester, and I've said that I think in all my Forester videos, because I'm not squeezing a third row, but it's nice and comfy for the second row. Knees are not hitting the seat in front of me, head's not hitting the ceiling. I'm 5'11" and not a small guy. I do have two climate control vents down below, as well as two 2.1 amp chargers. Those are traditional USBs. I do get a pull down center console with two cup holders in it. I get some nice little Subaru Wilderness badges on the doors. The gold stitching carries on throughout, so I get a nice little reminder here and there that I am in something a little bit extra special, but not anything crazy. However, speaking of space, let's hop into the very back. We'll do a quick look at the cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, we're on the back of the Subaru Forester Wilderness, and I do have a button here on the key fob. Push it and hold it, and it will go up. Now, we do have the really nice floor mats. Of course, we are preserving that for the first owner. I do get part of the Harman Kardon system back here. I can lower the second row of seats from the push of a button on either side, and I get a 12-volt outlet and a privacy cover. Pretty much anything you would want from a modern trunk, especially in an SUV, you get here in the Forester Wilderness. And I do get a spare tire, of course, all-terrain as well, and some extra storage. Nothing crazy back here beyond what you would get in a normal Forester, but definitely really nice to see. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really like the accents that the Wilderness package adds to it. Gets a little bit different cladding, sits a little bit higher than a regular Forester, and so it definitely gets some nice features. And overall, I think the modern Forester is a relatively handsome car. I think it's a little boxy, but that's sort of the charm of the Forester, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. With all that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving a Subaru Forester Wilderness? Well, this is the one to buy. This is definitely, in my personal opinion, this is the Subaru Forester to buy. I really like the added ruggedness to it. As someone who loves going to national parks in their free time, and as a matter of fact, when this video comes out, I'll be in the Everglades. I love the added capabilities. I like that I could theoretically pull a little pop-up tent trailer behind this thing. I like the extra ground clearance. I bottomed out my Mazda 3 in Big Bend National Park last October, and that night I got on the web and I started to look at lift kits for my Mazda 3, which are surprisingly expensive. But this comes with that from the factory. This has that nice higher approach angle. It comes with all-terrain tires from the factory. It's ready to go where you want it to go. And although I might not ever push the limits if I were to ever buy a Forester, it's nice knowing that I can. It takes away a chunk of worry from my life, which I am all for making my life as worry-free as possible. Now, I'll never be fully worry-free, but if I see a trail and I know I want to go down it, it's one less thing I have to think about. Am I going to bottom out? Is this going to destroy my car? In my Mazda 3, the probability is high, but in this vehicle, it's a little bit lower. And I just like that ethos of this car. It also does get that extra drive mode, makes it a little bit peppier, and to me just seems a lot less soccer mom and a lot more macho, which isn't necessarily required for a car that I buy, but the ego boost is nice as well. I'm a big fan of this. I hope that this video was thorough enough and interesting enough. Maybe you can get a better glimpse at what you might be purchasing, because that's my end goal. Speaking of which, you should definitely head over to Napleton Subaru in Schaumburg to check out a Subaru Forester Wilderness for yourself. I cannot recommend them enough. They're absolutely awesome. We've been working together for quite some time now. I've reviewed so many Subarus from them, and they've been quality every single time. Their information is up on the screen as well as linked in the description below. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.